percentage is usually based on the location of the property, the age of the property, but you want to keep that in mind. The other thing too is...
So I really like what you said. A lot of people focus on the income and they forget about the expenses. Is that, number one, is to focus on the expenses?
Well, focus on the expenses, but remember to consider repairs, capital expenses.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So instead of I love that. So focus on expenses, and then I'll put also the repair part.
Yeah.
Because with the fixed cost of fixed relatively hydro, water, taxes. But with this expense, you're saying the maintenance part.
The maintenance, but what's funny is that you talked about water. Once a year I do like a property management course, and one of the students at the course mentioned that they were doing like they were changing over their water meter readings, and so when they changed over their water meters, if you change the size of your pipe from a 3/4 inch to a 1/2 inch pipe, you actually pay less on your water bill.
So but you're getting a smaller pipe. So what about your pressure?
So you have to make sure that the property can sustain, because now we have a lot more efficient water devices, water heaters, that sort of thing.
That's true.
So as long as the capacity is there and you can hold and you can have a smaller pipe, you actually pay less for your water.
I know a little bit about plumbing.
Yeah.
A 1/2 inch would only be good for a duplex, because anything past that, your volume of water has got to be more.
Right. So it depends on the property. But if you had a 3/4 inch down to 1/2 in a duplex, saving some money.
Good point. All right. Is that a number in here, or is that way in the bottom?
There's a whole bunch.
There's a whole bunch. Okay, let's go to number 2 then.
All right, so let's say you're looking at your insurance, for example.
Okay.
Right? Maybe if you have more than one property, you can group your insurance together. So you can take a few different policies, maybe you've spread them out, and try to negotiate with one broker and try to get a lower price because you're bringing them a book of business.
Right.
Right?
And I think I can certainly see a lot of people would, insurance is the kind of thing, once you set it up, you almost forget that it's there.
That's right. One of the things that I made a mistake, and this is how you learn, right? You make mistakes.
Grouping insurance?
Grouping insurance. I had a policy where the square footage was actually higher than the actual square footage of the property. So I had, when I initially did the insurance policy, I had it at 1,500 square feet. And I had a shed that's worth like $500 insured for $5,000. So anyways, I was going back over my property. I reduced the square footage to the correct amount, which was like 1,200 square feet, and I got rid of the coverage on the shed. Okay, because I'm not going to rebuild the shed if it gets burnt down anyways.
Yeah. And I'm sure that we're not talking thousands of dollars, but as I was saying before, you're squeezing out pennies, and you got this, you got this. So yeah, you went from 5,000, so your net savings might be $50 or $100 a month.
Yeah,
right?
It ended up being about $250 for the year.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, but it's if you kept doing that over different properties, it starts to add up.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we're going through this list at. Yeah. Focusing on the expenses of grouping insurance. What's number 3?
Yeah. So I mean, just looking at your policies under grouping. Yeah. Looking at your policies for sure is another thing that you can do to be able to save money.
Actually, I did that on a personal level, where motorcycle, car, house, and they were spread out. Just by sheer luck, one of them called because there was a mix-up. We started chatting. On that phone call, I probably saved net $700 in a phone call. Got even better coverage by grouping, and I think companies want that. Yeah. They want all of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing too is like looking at where your expenses are coming in and look for irregularities. So if you have to pay for the utilities in a duplex or whatever it is.
Do you favor that?
I do not pay utilities. I make sure to pass it on. But if you did, you're looking at your utility bill. If all of a sudden you see a spike, right? So you need to examine your utility bills. If you see a spike, most likely it's the back light's been left on for a long time. The Christmas lights are still plugged in. Like there's a lot of different things that can happen. So make sure that you examine those expenses and see where you can save money there.
I know that in